Here you go, friend.
Thanks. Cool costume.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
I just wish you could all see the Earth the way that I see it. Because when you really look at it, it's just one world.
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. In my world, it means hope.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Real quick before we begin, I absolutely missed the DC Bullet. I'm so glad it's back. I really loved it. They never should have changed it, and I'm glad that it's back. So, we're looking at Absolute Superman, number 3 by Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval. We're going to be looking at the cover here, but I don't have just the regular cover. I also have the variant covers. Now, this entire issue is a flashback except for the last page. So, it's all about what happened in Krypton. So, here we go. So, this entire thing is from first-person point of view. It is from Superman saying it himself here. So, as a child on Krypton, I was deemed too slow, too coordination challenged to qualify for the Law Guild Training Academy. And you can see this guy here saying, out of the way, runt. School was always a challenge for me, so my grades were never going to be good enough to get me into the Science Academy. And here you can see him kind of mumbling. And the teacher says, Kal-El, no one can hear your report. Please see me after class. And so we continue here. Not that I wanted those things for myself anyway. I was happy in the Labor Guild, happy in the Redlands. The only two friends I had in the world were there, and since I was old enough to walk, we'd spend our days exploring the purple prairies and rolling pink hills of the Kryptonian countryside. That was where I belonged, quiet still, as far away from any city as you could get. I'm going to make a brief thing here to tell you that a lot of people are really down on this book for some reason here. And Jason Aaron, in my most humble opinion, is putting all the things that make Superman Superman there. He's establishing that even though he's not being raised by the Kents, and he's actually being raised by his family, he's still a country boy. He loves nature. He loves the small town. He loves this stuff. And Jason Aaron is putting it there. But this is a different universe. This isn't the same Superman. And people seem hooked on the fact that it's not Superman. Well, duh, it's Absolute Superman. The Absolute Universe is DC's kind of equivalent to what would have been the Ultimate Universe for Marvel Comics. And I don't understand why people are so up in arms about this title. I think it's really good. I love the first 2 issues. I have a playlist. Feel free to check them out. I don't know. I like it, and I don't think that he's done anything to make Superman appear out of character. Superman is still Superman. He's still for the little guy. He's fighting. He doesn't give up. He wants to help everybody, and that is Superman. It's just a different take on Superman, and he's doing it on a character that doesn't have any history. And I mean in the Absolute Universe. This Absolute Superman has nothing, and so he's laying the foundation. But guess what? What makes him Superman is still there. And so people are, I don't know. I don't understand why people are dogging him on this. And Jason Aaron, I know people are upset about his Thor run because Jane Foster, he made Jane Foster Thor, but guess what? When he was done with his run, he put back Thor Odinson back as Thor and let the next writer have at it. It's one of those things. These are not your toys. You play with them, and when you're done, you put them back, and then the next person gets to play with them. And that's exactly what he did with Thor. So he made Jane Foster Thor for, I don't know, what, 30 issues? And then he brought back Thor Odinson, and then people are like, blah, 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 blah. Well, he told a story. He told one story, and then he left. And when he was done with the story, it's not like he made her Thor and then left and says, all right, next writer, this is the new Thor. And so, I don't know. People just want to bitch about Jason Aaron, who I think is a phenomenal writer. It doesn't mean that everything he writes is great, but for the most part, a lot of what he writes is really, really good. So, I don't know. It's all in here. This showing that Superman, instead of Smallville, grew up in Krypton, raised by his mom and dad, because I would imagine that Kal-El is about 10 years old, 11 at the most, and he's a small town boy. So, and so we continue here. That was the only home I ever wanted. Mom, did you bring the Telenox? I bet we can see all the way to Vega from here. And Laura says, after we eat, Cal. And then Jor-El says, Cal, we wanted to talk to you about something, son. And Cal says about where we're going fishing tomorrow, because I hear they haven't really been biting much lately at Coco Lake, so maybe. And one of them says, we had a message from your teacher. And he's like, oh. And so Lara says, she says you've been refusing to utilize the Science League's Luminarium for your reports. That instead you're writing them yourself. And then Jor-El says, Cal, you understand that when you do that, you're challenging 3,000 years of Kryptonian tradition. Love how he holds the dog here. And Cal says, I know, I can't help it. My words make me happy. Theirs are just words. And Jor-El says, and it's really Jor, and his last name is El, but it's just habit. So every time I refer to him, I say Jor-El. Just like Kal-El. El is the last name. Cal is his first name, but some people just say Kal-El. Some people say Cal, but it's just kind of thing. So I'll always refer to him as Jor-El. So anyway, he says, well, it's affecting your grades and getting into trouble at school, and your mother and I, we've talked a lot about this. And Lara says, and when it comes right down to it, we really just have one thing to say. And then they kind of mess up his hair, and they both say, keep it up. And he's like, what, really? And Lara says, I don't care what your grades say. You're the sharpest, most caring kid in the whole world. We trust you to find your own path. And Jor-El says, we can't tell if it's going to be an easy road going against the ways of the Science League. You know it won't, but you have to chase your passion in life, Kal-El, wherever it leads you. And the other one says, do with all your heart at all costs, and I promise you'll be unstoppable. And Kal-El says, I don't know what I want to do, but whatever it is, I already know where it'll lead me. Right here. So, and he smiles, but the parents know what's up, and so the dad is walking away, and Kal-El says, Dad, did I say something wrong? And Lara says, no, Cal, not at all. Dad just, and then she pauses, got some work to do. And so let's get the tent set up, and you can see him taking samples here. And so Cal continues narrating. We've been camping in the Rao Mountains many times, but something was different about this trip. My father spent a lot of times taking samples from deep within the mountains. And at night, I could have sworn I heard my parents sobbing. You can see that there's like a green gas leaking here. Ever since his accident at the mine, my father seemed distant, distracted. In the days after our trips to the Raos, my parents became consumed with their work. More so than ever before. Mom was always in her garage building something. And when Dad wasn't at the mine, he seemed to be bringing his work home. And you can see Cal coming through. And Lara says, we're going to need more sunstone just to be sure. And Jor-El says, Lara, we don't have much time. The proof I've gathered, it's irrefutable. And what's going to happen, it could be months from now or it could be days. We can't wait. I have to take my findings to the Science League along with your design. And Lara says, I know, Jor. I know you have to try, and I love you for it. But when the clerics laugh you out of the building or condemned you as a heretic, and then you come here, and then come here to take everything we built, I need to know that we'll be done with trying to reason with people who don't respect our right to have a voice. Lara, you, and suddenly there's a bark from Crypto, and Kal-El looks away here, and you can see Rafa. Crypto, what is it, boy? And so continue with the narration. Growing up under the brutal red sun of Krypton, there was always danger. Tornadoes full of diamonds, rain that burned, sinkholes that would swallow entire towns and spit out the chewed up remains a continent away. And so we see that creature being consumed by that green gas here. What happened to that little guy? Crypto, you didn't, but this was something different. Oh no, and suddenly everything is dying here. Something Krypton had never seen before. I was painfully quiet, avoided eye contact at all costs with anyone who wasn't my dog or my parents. But in that moment, standing in the cusp of a story that would change everything forever inside me, unlocked. Crypto, where'd I leave my bike? I want to pause real here by there in the beginning before it showed Krypton was destroyed because the red sun exploded. However, sometime I believe during the Superman the animation, the animated series, great series by the way. They had that the Kryptonians had sort of damaged Krypton, and at that time they had Brainiac, and Brainiac knew, but Brainiac didn't tell anyone. Even though Jor-El suspected that something was wrong. And I believe Jason Aaron is going that route where it seems that the Kryptonians had done irreversible damage to the planet. So I don't believe that this is being caused because of the red sun. Now, ultimately, that red sun would explode and then we're going to die anyway. But I believe that this has to do because of the way Kryptonians treated their own planet. So, and I think that's where Jason Aaron is going and using that type of things here. So you can see, I'm not going to read this portion here, but you can see all these things getting absolutely decimated. All the animals, fish, and I really like these things. These things are pretty cool. And so, according to the official Science League newsfeed, this was nothing unusual. And this guy's like, look at that. Natural gas leaks, they said, an isolated problem. No cause for concern. After a week, I went camping in the mountains. My class took a field trip to Kandor. Along the way, I started to put it all into writing, everything I'd seen across the Redlands. The words flowed out of me almost as far as I could type them. Before I could think to stop myself, I'd submitted my story to the school's news board. By the time we reached Kandor, the story had been removed from the board, all the notes deleted remotely from my tablet, and an appointment set for my parents to see the school administrator. We'd never make it to that meeting. And so, welcome to the halls of high wisdom, children. And so you can see that the Science League has, or Guild has, the biggest, tallest building in all of Kandor. So, pretty cool here. And so, where I imagine many of you hope to be working one day, am I right? Who here wants to apply to the Science League when you're old enough? And everybody raises their hand except Cal. Well, come on, let's see where Krypton's greatest minds do their work. And this kid asks, where are all the clerics? And this guy says, they're off doing official science business today. No more questions. Come along, children. Typical. And then Cal looks down and says, why would anyone want to work this far from the ground? And so Jor-El says here, and yeah, this is Jor-El. No, I have to see them. Take your hands off me. And the cop here says, "You have." Oh no, sorry, that's still Jor-El. You have to listen. Listen, damn it! I'm a geological engineer. I know what I'm talking about. Your lives are all in danger. And Kal-El says, "Dad." And this guy's like, "Scientific heresy, threatening officers of the Law Guild. You don't know when to quit, do you, laborer? Let's go." And Jor-El is like, "You can't do this. I have to talk to the clerics." And Cal is like, "Dad," and he sees him and he goes, "Cal, Dad, what's happened? Where are they taking you?" And Jor-El says, "Cal, get out of here. Go home. Tell your mother." And then he's hit with like a stun gun. You can see that this is pretty cool here. I don't think I'd ever raised my voice before that moment. "No, get away from my dad," he says. My fists clenched so tight it throbbed. I was enraged and wildly confused, and yet somehow nothing in my entire life ever seemed more clear as he kind of hits the guy, and the guy then swats him away and says, "Get out of here, kid." And so I was helpless. I watched and wept as they dragged my father away. After that, there was only one thing I could do, and he runs home. "Mom!" So, listen to me carefully, Cal. I want you with me for this. But if anything goes wrong, you don't. If anything goes wrong, you get on your bike and come back here as fast as you can. You go straight into the garage and call for Sol. "Okay, who's Sol?" And so, hello, I am Sol. How can I be of service? And then he's like, never mind. Lara says, "Never mind. I just do what I ask, Kal-El." And he says, "What are you going to do, Mom?" And of course, look at how badass this is. "I'm going to get your dad back." Very 90s. Almost imagine if Cable had a gun this big here. So pretty cool here. And so the Central Law Guild office in Kandor. And so one of the police officers says, "Jor-El, loudmouth miner from the Redlands. Yeah, he's here, being held on suspicion of heresy. This is Kid, the one who thinks he's a writer. We got charges for him too. Why don't you both just come with?" And then all of a sudden you see this choom. And Lara I think is using like a lava gun here. And she goes, "Jor-El, where are you? Find him, Crypto." And so off he goes. And this guy here says, "One assailant and her dog. Gun appears to fire some sort of projectile that." And this guy's like, "It's lava. Her gun shoots lava. Get this armor off me." And someone says, "Judgment has been expedited. The Luminarium declares guilty on all charges. Proceed to sentences." Copy that. Commencing lethal injection. And come these balls here with spikes. And this guy's taken out by Crypto. And Jor-El's like, "Holy, what is it?" And it's Crypto. And he goes, "Where's Lara?" "Don't tell me." She... And she's here, and the things, the green gas, but it doesn't affect it. She destroys these things, and look at her. That is so freaking cool. My goodness gracious. I love this. So, and Jor-El says, "Guess the suit works." And she says, "You're an idiot. Let's go home, my love." And he says, "Wait, where's Cal?" And so this guy's like, "Huh." And Cal says, "Hey, tell me your login code and I'll ask my mom not to shoot you anymore." So he gets it and he goes in here. "My mother was marching through the central law offices of Kandor, blasting away the place. The place should have been swarming with shock troops and judge generals. Why wasn't it? No law guildsmen, no clerics in their towers. Where was the ruling classes of Krypton?" And so then he goes, "Whoa. Starships. Since when do clerics care about space? Oh my row." And so one of the parents goes from behind and says, "Cal, we're leaving now, son." And so the whole way home, I could see them trying to figure out the right words, the best way to break the news to me. In the end, they didn't need to. "Cal, we've been keeping an awful secret from you, son." And says Jor-El. And Lara says, "Something we didn't know how to tell you, But now, well, we're sort of out of time. And Jor-El says, because, son, Krypton is, and then Kal-El finishes it, Krypton is dying. And Jor-El says, yes, but, and then Lara asks, Cal, how did you? And then Cal says, and you want to shoot me into space to save me, all alone, wearing mom's spacesuit from when she was a kid. But I'm not going, not without you. And Jor-El says, oh, Cal, you're an amazing kid. You're mostly right. And then Lara says, we'd never shoot you into space by yourself. So, real quick, I've already looked at the first two issues. We know they're not around. We assume that they didn't make it, that they're dead. However, if you've been following Absolute Batman, you know that only Bruce's father died and his mother is still very much alive. So, I'm not saying that they're alive. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not going to assume they could be imprisoned. We saw Brainiac in issue 1. Brainiac could have them. A lot of stuff could happen. So, as of this, they were going with. Now, in issue number 4, they may reveal them that they have died. But as of this issue, we don't know what's up. So, all right. And so we see this ship here that they built. And Lara says, we're going together. So it looks like at least the plan. This looks like Plastic Man, by the way. The red and the yellow with this. It almost looks like Plastic Man converted into a ship. So this is why I think, I just don't know. So, and Lara says, our cousins, our neighbors, as many Kryptonians as we can hold. I wish the ship was big enough for the whole planet, but the Science League wouldn't even see you, Jor. It figures they don't want to know what. And Jor-El says, they already know. And she says, what? They've been secretly building ships, pouring every resource they have into it. Enough ships to carry the upper classes off-world. Only the upper classes. They don't want anyone else to know that the entire planet's going to... And she says, where are you seeing this? The story's everywhere, all over the Luminarium. It went live just a short time ago. Uploaded directly from the Central Law Guild offices in Kandor. And they both look at Clark, or Cal, and he's like, so... where are we going? See what I mean? He's still Superman. He's good. I think people that don't want to like this series are just haters. I really am digging it. I love all three. They're different takes on classic heroes. I really like it. So sue me. And so we get to the last page here, which is in modern times here, Central Kansas now. And so we're in Smallville, senior living. God, it's sad, says an orderly. She's withering away day after day, and she never stops asking for her son. And the other orderly says, we have tried contacting the next of kin. And then the first one says, that's the thing, she doesn't have any. According to her records, she never had any children. Angel, where did you go? And here you see a woman, a man, and a kid, or someone else here. Fly back to me, my sweet angel boy, back to where you belong. And if you look at the bracelet, M. Kent, Martha Kent. So, I'm excited. This is pretty good. I really like it. So, what's up? Don't know. Is she referring to Cal? Did she raise him after all? Her and Jonathan? We don't know. So, next, the coming of the Omega Men. And so we get our credits here. Jason Aaron, writer, and Rafa Sandoval is the artist that gets to draw this. I really enjoy his art. So, Absolute Superman number 3 by Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval. I like it. I'm going to defend this. This is a hill I'm going to die on. I really like the Absolute Universe. I like the differences. I like the takes. I think that I think this is good stuff. So like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.